So it's been 3 years since I started my Amazon business. I decided that I wanted to sell on Amazon, went onto YouTube, learned as much as I could possibly learn, and went ahead and launched a product whilst I was working my 9-to-5 job. Once I launched my first product, I was making a decent amount of money, so I decided to quit my job. So then I had to launch more products to make sure I had extra streams of income coming in. Now at this time, I'm obviously sitting there thinking, great, I'm doing so well. Everything is going so swimmingly. How could I lose? I'm on top of the world. Nobody can take over me. I'm going to do so well in life. See you later, losers. Okay, I wasn't that bad, but I did book a one-way trip to Bali so I could go and chill and launch some more products while I was chilling and living that laptop lifestyle. Now, throughout the last 3 years, I've had my fair share of successes and failures, both of which I have learned from, and they have been nothing compared to what has just happened. I definitely didn't see this coming. Now, just like the crash, the housing market crash of 2008, where loads of banks and insurance companies went under, I truly did not see this coming. Now, if anybody is out there listening to my story thinking, oh, it's probably better to have a job and not sell on Amazon, then I want to give you a little bit of a reality check. In 2008, well, not just 2008, from 2008 up until today, you can see companies are falling apart. Now, there are some companies doing really well, and that's great, but there are still companies going down, and it is very easy for you to lose your job, take a redundancy, etc. So everything is always at risk. It's always there. The risk is always going to be there. So working for somebody else is a risk. Working for yourself is obviously a risk, but you're in more control of what happens and you learn a lot more from it. Although thousands of people have lost their jobs, lost their homes, and affected by the stock market. And that's just talking about the banking and the housing market. There's so many more industries that were actually affected. And now the coronavirus is here and has started to affect my business. Now, the first problem that I had, and I had this problem before, so I'm now much better at dealing with this issue, is making sure that I order my inventory well in advance of the Chinese New Year. Well, with the Chinese New Year, I had ordered just before that, and I had more than enough time to get my stock into Amazon FBA's warehouse, so long as something like the coronavirus didn't come and affect it. So what had happened after the Chinese New Year? Well, the coronavirus had hit China and loads of workers were not going back to work. This meant that the production and manufacturing of products had slowed down massively. Now, my products are obviously being made in China, and I need those products to sell on Amazon. This is where I started taking the hit. Now, it's not that the factory workers were not able or willing to, well, some probably aren't, but they're not able or willing to, but some of the governments or cities within China were not letting people into specific spaces or areas within China to go ahead and actually start working. Now, luckily for me, my production had finished and I was one of the lucky ones until I got this message from my supplier. My supplier has sent me a message saying non-natives are now not allowed into the warehouse or the specific area that my product is actually being made. So what did that mean to me? That means my inspection company cannot go in and inspect the company because I use an external inspection company coming from a different part of China. And not only that, my shipping company were not allowed to go ahead and pick up the products, to actually go and send them to the port and then send it over to the USA and send it over to Amazon FBA's warehouse. Now, if the inspection company and the shipping company can't get in, then there's absolutely nothing that I could do. So you can now start to see the effects of the coronavirus and how it's killing my Amazon FBA business. Not only that, I have no idea or no clue as to when this is actually going to be over. So this is really going to be a difficult task for me to try and overcome. However, this stuff happens and it comes up, and we always need to find a way around it. We need to find the solution, and I have 2 solutions that I'm using right now to actually make sure that I am not massively affected. And by the way, I am already affected by this. My sales have dropped because my stock is low. And luckily I have 2 backup methods that is going to cover me until I am back to, or everything else gets back to normal. And you can use these methods too. Now, some of you may be wondering how much I have been affected financially. Well, I'm going to tell you. Sadly, I have taken a hit of at least 10 to 20K a month until things are back to normal. Now for me, that's a huge hit, and generally I would be super worried about taking such a huge hit. I mean, $10,000 to $20,000 in a month is not a small amount of money. It's not a small hit to actually take. And when that started to happen, I really did feel it. But what I did, and this is what you should be doing, and this is hopefully the way you are starting to think about things, and hopefully this shifts your mindset a little bit. I started to think about, well, how could I go about resolving my problem of not having stock in the warehouse and finding a backup? And how could I actually resolve the bigger problem of not having any income? Well, luckily enough, I actually solved one of those problems. So what are the two backup methods that I'm actually using? Well, the first thing is actually I'm talking to suppliers in the UK and the USA. I've actually tried to contact suppliers in Malaysia and other countries, but I have now found some suppliers that I may be able to work with for a short period of time in the UK and USA. Now, the prices might be slightly higher. However, taking into account that the shipping is going to be a lot less, if I get a supplier in the USA, then I should be okay. And if I have to take a smaller hit of profits, or even have to break even, that's absolutely fine, because at least my listing is still ranked, I'm still making sales, the business is still going to continue to run. But what this does is this broadens my experiences of talking to other suppliers in other countries to support my business, if in case something like this happens again. But as soon as this is over, then I will go back to my suppliers in China and actually continue working with my suppliers in China, because they make great product for me and I have a great relationship with them, and at such a small price. Now I'm hoping that this should show you that this is the problem solving mindset. It's okay to feel like you've taken a hit to begin with, but make sure you try and get yourself out of that place where you're thinking, oh no, everything's going to crap and everything is going to hell and nothing is going to work for me and this is never going to work. I don't know how to solve these problems. You need to be shifting your mindset into, how could I solve my problem? Well, actually, the first thing you need to do is, what is my problem and how can I actually go about solving it? And surely enough, you should and you will end up finding a way, even if you have to move away from something you're normally used to and finding something different that's slightly outside of your comfort zone. Now, there's the second way of how I've actually solved my problem of the reduced income. Now, I recently released a video of the 8 streams of income that I have to show you all of my streams of income. Now, the reason why I did that video is because I know that if something goes wrong with any one of those income streams, like Amazon FBA, for example, which is a perfect example right now, I know all of my other streams of income are covering me. Now, it may not cover me to the same level. It may not be as passive as other income streams, but at least I have those income streams to cover me, so I can still have a roof over my head and I can still eat the foods that I want and do the same things that I normally do. Now, this has been a massive hit for me and it's been really hard to actually swallow, but I really wanted you to know the reality of what is going on, even though that nobody else may be saying it or talking about it. I wanted to be completely honest with you and show you what's actually happened. And I also want you to see the mindset shift that you will have when you start doing businesses like this. So if you haven't started selling on Amazon, or you haven't actually started to learn, then start learning right now. Start getting in touch with suppliers and start building those relationships. I'm really hoping that the coronavirus is resolved quickly, not only just for my business, but for humanity's sake. So I'm really hoping that this gets resolved super fast and the governments and anybody else involved in resolving this actually gets this resolved super quickly. Now, sometimes honesty is really hard and it's really tough for me to make a video like this just to go out there and tell you that I've taken a massive hit in my income. So I really do hope that you appreciate this video that I'm making and that I'm being really honest with you guys. Again, I'd like to thank you for 3,000 subscribers. I still have that competition going at the moment, so if you want to enter that competition, just check the previous video that I launched. And I'd strongly recommend that you go ahead and watch the 8 streams of income video that I made for you. I'll put a link in the description for you. And if you do want to start to learn how to sell on Amazon from somebody who is experienced and who is teaching other people to do the exact same thing, feel free to check out the program that I have available only for a limited period of time. It is about to change prices are about to go up, and I am about to take off the coaching for it. So if you do want it, now is the time to go ahead and get that. Check it out at fbastars.com. I'll also put the link in the description there. I'm looking forward to seeing what your comments are like. I am looking forward to replying to every single one of your comments as well. And I cannot wait to see you in the next video.